Mr. Dalwai, I have heard your speeches on TV and read your speeches in newspapers. You always said that UAD project is meant for residents and not just the citizens. Can you elaborate it? I am not able to understand that.
Yeah, when we are reaching out to the residents of the country, when you say citizen, then it is somebody who has only citizenship of India under the Citizenship Act 1951. But we are talking about a resident because there could be people who not necessarily are citizens of this country, but are living within the bounds of India for a certain period of time, and they may also like to have such a number because they would also like to sometime or the other avail themselves of certain benefits. They may go to a college for studies, or they may be engaged as employee in a particular company, and then a particular service provider may ask them for an identity number. Let us say, for example, somebody working in an IT company wants to buy his mobile service, and a mobile service provider may ask him for an identity. So, it is important that in a liberalized country like India today, which is globalized also, wherein large number of outsiders also come and live here, are given this kind of enablement so that they are at home within the bounds of India. So, a resident need not necessarily be a citizen, he is something beyond the citizenship. Therefore, our scope is much wider than citizenship.
So it's not just for Indians, anybody residing in India. This is what you are saying.
Yes, a resident is generally defined as somebody who has lived in India for a period of 6 months and 1 day. So, anybody with that tenure of living within India is entitled to get a resident ID number.
Mr. Dalwai, this is a multi-purpose card, as you say. So, if you don't have it, there is a fear that you will not get LPG gas, you cannot open a bank account or apply for a passport. Is this fear justified?
I think the people of this country need not really apprehend this kind of a situation. While we are saying that the service providers are free to link their services to Aadhaar and thereby make Aadhaar one of the mandatory features, but if somebody does not have an Aadhaar number, he cannot be deprived of his services. So, that kind of flexibility and comfort is always there, because there could be certain people who may not have got Aadhaar for certain reasons, and yet they can't be deprived of services. So, one thing is that it will take some time for the population to be covered, and only when a substantive population is covered, I think the service providers would really think of linking their services to Aadhaar. And then, as I said, it also depends upon the scope for authenticity. Authentication is something that we provide, the service that we provide. So, we are at the stage of testing our authentication possibilities, and once we are confident about that, we will be rolling out that authentication, and then of course, the service providers are free to utilize that.
Mr. Dalwai, can Aadhaar replace voter card, ID card, PAN card? So, if you have the number, no need to have these cards. Can this happen anytime in future?
It won't happen that way. We are not going to replace other multi-purpose cards or independent cards. What we really do is that we provide an identity. When somebody has an identity number called Aadhaar, it establishes his uniqueness. Now, the other service providers, including the voter ID card or the passport providers or the ration card providers, they would be linking those services to the ID number, and thereby ensuring that the entitlements are given as per the requirement. If somebody is entitled to one passport, he does not get two, because each time he seeks a passport, he is asked for his Aadhaar number, and nobody is going to have more than one Aadhaar number, because when we give an Aadhaar number, we ensure that there is no duplicate, and that is the uniqueness of this project. We do a deduplication using an appropriate software, and this deduplication is based on the biometrics, and it ensures that we do not generate a second number for any resident. So, when other services are thereby linked to such a unique number, they are ensuring that every citizen gets his entitlements as he deserves and not as he desires.
Okay. Mr. Dalwai, when we apply for a passport, police verification of our address is very necessary. With Aadhaar, can that be disposed of? because most of the applications are held up in passport office because police verification does not take place on time. With Aadhaar, can that be disposed of?
Yes, it would be possible. In fact, already a large number of states have begun to declare Aadhaar number as a proof of identity and a proof of address. So, a proof of identity is any document that bears the photograph and the address, and a proof of address simply bears the address. Now, our Aadhaar letter that is sent to every resident, the tear portion has the photograph, it has also the address. And for example, Karnataka state has already declared this as a POA and POI, and there are many other states that have done. So, obviously, any agency that needs to rely upon such a POA and POI will come to rely upon Aadhaar number.